what is going on, guys? Still Twins back at you with another video previewing the Pittsburgh Steelers 2019 NFL Draft class.
Yeah, man. As you guys know, the 2019 draft is over. All the mock drafts, all the selections, all the wonder is done. It's all in the books and everything, which sucks. But, you know, with that came some very exciting moments, especially for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially in the first round. So we're just going to get into it. As you guys know, man, in the first round, the Steelers traded up with the Denver Broncos to move up 10 spots to move to the number 10 pick. And with that pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Devin Bush, inside linebacker out of Michigan. Now, what we traded was our 20th pick, obviously, this year's second-round pick, and next year's third-round pick. Now, depending on how you look at it, you know, you guys may have your own tone. You guys may have your own reasoning. And our honest opinion, you know, when we first heard about it, we were a little indifferent, you know. We were like, okay, but we're like, that second rounder. But, you know, if you really think about it, obviously we're going to have to spend the first rounder to trade up. And we traded next year's third, which is completely fine because we still get a third-round compensatory pick for Le'Veon Bell's departure. So we still get a third-round pick back. So we still have a third-round pick next year. And if you really look at it and think about it, essentially all we traded for Bush was a second-round pick.
Right, exactly.
If you ask me, man.
So when we have more time to think about it and
dissect it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a steal.
This was highway robbery, man.
This was a big steal.
Colbert made the trade of a fucking lifetime, man. And for something that we obviously needed and someone that we obviously wanted, you know, I remember for years now, Steelers fans, man, we've been crying for the Steelers to trade up. I remember last year, man, we were like, trade up for Tremaine Edmonds, trade up for Roquan Smith, trade up for Leighton Vander Esch,
or Derwin James,
trade up
you know,
for
guys like that, you know, please trade up,
and
fix this team, fix this defense, and they never did.
We didn't pull the trigger, but this year, man, the Steelers, man, they were aggressive, and I love that shit. You know, we all needed it. And like I said, we all wanted it, man. We all know that the Steelers need to be a little bit more aggressive. They need to stop making these small little type rain, you know, pokes into the water and shit.
Exactly.
We need to make that big ass fucking cannonball splash, and that's exactly what we did in this draft class. This past draft, man.
And this whole offseason in general, really.
Seriously, you know, with the signings of Steven Nelson, which helps us a cornerback, and Diontae Moncrief, which helps us a wide receiver, and of course Mark Barron, who will be a very nice guy at inside linebacker and dime backer and everything, and us trading up in the first round to go get a necessary need, which we all know we needed. And Devin Bush, man, phenomenal fucking pick. Absolutely love Devin Bush. You know, I'm still a little iffy about him, man, but you know what? Devin Bush, he's the fucking future, man.
He really is. He's got the agility, he's got the potential, he's got the speed, the coverage ability, the tackling ability.
The heart, man.
He's really got it all.
Yeah, and, you know, I didn't know about this until after we selected him, man, but there was this one time where Michigan was facing Michigan State. And
as you guys know, they're big rivals.
Right. And I believe that Michigan State players locked arms and walked through Michigan's warm-ups and all that shit and everything. And Devin Bush obviously didn't take that very, you know.
He didn't take it too kindly at all.
Right, of course. So what he did is he fucking stomped on their logo. He ripped it up. He fucked up the turf. He discolored the logo and everything, you know, with his cleats and everything. And, you know, honestly, man, you guys may find that to be a little bit, you know, eerie or a little bit cautious because, you know, we don't necessarily need that type of shit. But honestly, if you think about it, man, that's the old school Steelers inside linebacker or Steelers linebacker in general, man.
Yeah, really.
You know,
because I remember the days of Joey Porter doing that shit to the Bengals and the Ravens.
Yeah, I remember when the Bengals used to interrupt our warm-ups and even the Browns. And Joey Porter didn't take none of that fucking shit, man. He was just ready to fucking go, man. He fucking hated that type of disrespect bullshit.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what Devin Bush is, man. You know, and the crazy thing about it, the great thing about it is he's wearing Peasy's old number 55, and that can't be any more fucking perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think 55 is just the perfect number for him.
I remember when Peasy and James Harrison used to do it. I remember when even a few years back when Vontaze Burfict got in the face of Vince Williams before Williams became a starter. And then they almost brawled. Then Harrison had to come and break it up and everything. We all know Harrison's a big guy you definitely don't want to fuck with, obviously.
Exactly.
So, that's just a thing that really speaks a lot about Devin Bush and how much better the selection is, because he has that old school Steelers linebacker mentality and that type of heart, man. You don't fuck.
Loud ass motorcycle outside.
Wow, bitch.
If you guys can hear that, but
Wow.
anyway, Devin Bush is he's got passion, he's got heart. And if you just with whatever team he's on, if you disrespect what the team's doing or the team's logo, he's going to do the same thing back to you.
Absolutely, man.
And that's what I love.
But Devin Bush, nonetheless, phenomenal fucking selection, man. He obviously has the speed. He has pretty much everything we need at the inside linebacker position. He has the speed. He has the hustle. He has the heart. He has the passion. He has the no bullshit attitude. He's got the covered ability. He's got the run stuffing ability, man.
He's got basically all the tools. There's going to be some stuff that he's going to have to work on, but you know how we develop linebackers.
Yes, Devin Bush, man, a very necessary pick, a very necessary need, a very necessary, trade that we needed to do, trading up to go get someone like Devin Bush. Because when Devin White was selected by the Bucs, there was no question Devin Bush wouldn't have been on the board any longer. Because now I said that maybe the Bengals wouldn't have selected him, and maybe he would have gotten past, and then we might have been able to trade up for a little bit cheaper. But honestly,
I don't think that was a risk we were willing to take.
Yes, it's a risk that we couldn't take, and it's something we need to do. And for what we gave up for him, man, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Absolutely.
A fucking steal to go get something and someone that we really needed, man.
Seriously. I am extremely excited on what Devin Bush can do in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform.
Yes.
I really am.
So, yeah, man, definitely. Now, obviously, we didn't have a second-round pick because we made that great trade to go get Bush. But in the third round, man, with the 66th pick, which is from Oakland, of course, the Steelers selected Diontae Johnson, wide receiver from Toledo. Now, this is a little weird. This is a little eerie because I'm not going to lie, when Santonio Holmes made that selection and he said Diontae Johnson, man, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I think most of us all thought Diontae Johnson as a day 3 pick.
Right.
At least a 6th, maybe a 7th, at most maybe a 5th. That's why I think we could have selected him. But our wide receiver coach, Daryl Drake, man, I swear to God, I don't think I've ever seen any other coach fall in love with a player as much as Daryl Drake falls in love with Diontae Johnson. Like, he is incredibly high on him, and apparently, according to Drake himself, he said that the Bucs,
which was the pick after us,
they were really targeting Diontae Johnson, and apparently they were cussing at the Steelers or cussing at Drake or something's related to that. But according to Drake, the Bucs were really targeting him in the third round. So at least we're not the only team that thought of Johnson highly and thought that he would be considered a very early pick in this draft. And honestly, looking back at it, necessarily, it's not really that much of a reach, because if there's other teams looking at him in that type of format, then we're obviously not alone.
Right.
So, if that's the case, then he's clearly not a reach. And looking back on it, I definitely don't think he's a reach. And with the pick that we got from Antonio Brown, we pretty much got an Antonio Brown clone, in my opinion. And yes, I did say an Antonio Brown clone, only without the fucking bullshit dickiness attitude. And now some people are comparing him to Emmanuel Sanders, which is fine, but I'm going a step further and comparing him to Antonio Brown. You just look at, everything he did in Toledo. You look at his attributes and everything. His height, his speed is similar.
His route running is pretty much the same. People are even saying he was the best route runner in this entire draft class.
And why not?
Which I can actually agree with.
Yeah, seriously. Diontae Johnson is just a pure crazy route runner who's only going to get better at the next level, which is fucking crazy.
That's the thing.
And the thing is, with the way that we develop wide receivers.
Exactly.
And honestly, with this selection, man, I can't really be mad. Even if this was considered a reach still by many, I can't really necessarily be mad at it, because with our track record with Colbert and wide receivers and just Steelers wide receivers in general, I got to trust the process, man, honestly.
No, you really have to.
I can't really sit here and say, wow, man, this was a fucking reach, because look at our track record with wide receivers. I can't really say this was a bad pick or this was necessarily a reach, because our resume is spectacular.
It really is.
So,
and the beautiful thing about it, he's not going to start day one.
No, he's not.
And our development with receivers, they'll only make him better.
Absolutely, which is crazy, man. Johnson came in for a pre-draft visit, and apparently he had a very good and positive and very smooth interview with the Steelers. and Daryl Drake, and I can see why the Steelers fell in love with him, man. And this guy, like I said, isn't Tony Brown clone. He has the same route running ability, same speed. He's a great return specialist. So if we want to put him opposite of Switzer, or if we want to give Switzer some competition at return specialist, we can very well do that with Diontae Johnson.
Yeah, really.
So, Diontae Johnson, he's not necessarily the best receiver, or he's not the most complete receiver. Were there better options there outside of Diontae Johnson? Yeah, sure, like Hakeem Butler, Kelvin Harmon, maybe.
Riley, really, but the thing with them, they don't really fit the mold of a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver.
Yeah,
it's a really once in a blue moon Steelers get a receiver like that.
Yeah, in terms of that size.
Yes. A guy like Diontae Johnson with his size and his style is really the typical Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver.
Right. Now, would I love us to go get a taller weapon? Absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I hate this pick, because I absolutely don't, man. We thought that if we could have gotten him in the 5th or 6th, this would have been an absolute fucking steal. We said at a point that if we got him in the 5th or 6th, he could battle Eli Rogers, possibly take over his role, maybe step up and become, another slot guy. And the great thing about Johnson, he can also play in the slot and outside.
Yeah,
man.
he's very
this guy's
versatile.
Which is another reason why the Steelers might have targeted him, because they love those versatile receivers.
Exactly.
So
Diontae Johnson in the 3rd, it may be considered a reach, but the talent is there.
Yeah.
It really is.
He has all the makings to prove his 3rd-round worth, and with our track record and our resume wide receivers, I can't really say that I disagree with this selection, man. Diontae Johnson is a big fucking sleeper, very underrated, someone we've been scouting for months now, and I can't be more glad that we got him in the 3rd round, and that he is a Pittsburgh Steeler.
And any more excited to see what he can do on the football field.
Absolutely. And the way that Ben works with smaller guys, he's proven. Now, he said that he wants a taller weapon, of course, but he's proven that he can definitely work with those smaller guys. Now, at the 83rd pick, the Steelers selected Justin Lane, cornerback out of Michigan State. This was kind of weird because we just mentioned how Devin Bush tore up the Michigan State logo, and now he's a teammates with a Michigan dude.
Right,
so.
But I did hear that Lane and Bush are actually good friends,
of
and they put, the rivalry of the Michigan State, crap, they put that to the side because they're good friends. They actually work out together.
Of course, they got to bury the hatch and everything. And honestly, Justin Lane is a big sleeper, and many people could consider this a fucking steal. Many people had him possibly a sleeper in the 1st round, maybe a mid-second rounder, but we got him here in the late 3rd round, which is honestly great. And this is a great player with great frame, great size, great attributes that could come in and, obviously sit behind Nelson and Hayden, and he can be a phenomenal project. And no matter what happens, if there's any unfortunate injury or contract dispute, again, man, we've said it time and time again, this could be Hayden's last year in the black and gold, which hopefully not, but, if so, man, I have confidence in Justin Lane, man. He is very raw. He is a very raw defensive back and corner, but, he's a guy.
Because he did switch from receiver to cornerback, so he still got some rawness to him, but when he was with Michigan State on that defense, he was actually one of the key members of that defense.
Absolutely, in that secondary, of course. First of all, in my opinion, I feel like that this guy is an upgrade from Artie Burns already, just based on his size and what he did in college.
Yeah.
So, but he can be a phenomenal project behind our top 2 corners, and can, upgrade and come in, possibly be the replacement for either one of them, man. Like we said, Hayden, it might be in his last year, so this guy could be a very nice project. Now, I know that our resume of developing corners lately isn't the prettiest, clearly.
At all, but you got to think, their development has kind of been ruined because of injuries. Because, like with Evans last year, Burnett was supposed to start, but he was injured, so he had to step in and start.
Right. Now, that could happen again because Hayden does have injury issues. We will say, hey, Hayden does have injury issues.
Right, but we do have an experienced player on this team like a Cameron Sutton that can step in for him. That way we don't have to push Justin Lane and his development to the side and put him in. No, we can put Sutton in there.
Absolutely. So,
if you ask me, Justin Lane, now this may be a bit of a reach, but he reminds me a bit of Ike Taylor.
Really?
But one that can actually catch.
Yeah.
Because you remember Ike Taylor when he was drafted in the 4th round. He started off as a backup and somewhat of a return specialist. But we developed him, and then when he started, he was actually one of our top corners on this team.
Yeah. So with proper and right and correct development, Justin Lane can come in and be a very nice project and hopefully an eventual starter for this team. The Steelers have shown massive interest in Justin Lane, and I'm not very surprised at this selection because Steelers love him. They scouted him massively. He has all of the tools and all the keys that the Steelers love in a guy like Justin Lane or a guy at the cornerback position. So, I mean, he's got great frame, great height and everything. He's got some good speed to him. So, if he were to have some proper development, this guy could be a very nice rotational guy for the next foreseeable future, but potentially a nice starter.
Yeah, a big stud on the secondary.
Absolutely, man. So, I like the Justin Lane pick, man. Many people consider it a steal, but time will tell, man, honestly. So, now in the fourth round, with the 122nd pick, the Steelers selected Benny Snell, running back out of Kentucky, man. I marked the fuck out at Heinz Field, man, because we were at the Steelers draft party in Pittsburgh and everything when the selection was made and everything.
When the selection was announced, I believe I was actually in line for a Rocky Blyer signing.
Yeah.
And I looked to my left to the TV, and they announced that Benny Snell was a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Dude,
I kid you not, I literally jumped when everybody was in line.
Seriously.
I literally jumped out of excitement.
Dude, I didn't care who was there. I didn't care how many kids were there. I apologize for this, but I started cursing. I started freaking out because I am a massive fan of Benny Snell, man. And the great thing about him is that he is just a prototypical great Steelers running back. He has all the tools that really make and speak of a Steelers running back, man. You know, he may not be the fastest guy, but he pretty much ran a similar 42 James Conner. And, you know.
And Le'Veon Bell, really.
Yeah. And the great thing about him is that he is just a pure, strong, physical, great power back who is incredibly hard to take down. He can fight for yardage. He'll be a great guy to come in and get that short yardage or that needed short yardage. He can be a great goal line back because if you look at his stats in Kentucky, man, he can definitely get in the end zone. He is a touchdown monster, but that's not the only thing he's great for, man. He can be a great rotational guy behind Conner and Samuels. You know, many people may say that we could have went tight end here. We could have went defense. We could have went secondary. We could have went safety. You know, I believe Diontae Johnson was still on the board at this point. So, you know, many people may say that. I'm not going to disagree with you. And many people may say that running back really isn't that much of a necessary need because of Samuels. And, again, I'm not going to disagree with you. And trust me, I love Conner to death. I really do. But he has suffered some sort of injury the last 2 years. And we can't really take that risk in his third year. You know, he is obviously our starter. And he is our running back, of course, but there's always the unfortunate risk of him getting injured. And I feel like that's why we needed to address the third running back slot. And I think Benny Snell is that perfect guy who can come in, split reps with Conner and Samuels, man, take some pressure off of them, and still be a steady and productive running back behind our offensive line, man. He is just a strong, physical, phenomenal fucking running back that just speaks of Steelers.
Absolutely.
Man. It's crazy, man.
A guy that can run you over, a guy that's not easy to take down, and a guy that can fucking get in the end zone.
Absolutely. And you know, he's even said it, man. My style of running is Steelers, man. You know,
exactly.
So I think he's going to be a perfect fit in the black and gold. And he's already expressed interest in wearing 26, which was his college number. And, of course, the old 26 is out of here. So
by all means, give him that damn number. Because he truly fucking deserves it.
Why not, man? And I'm not going to lie, and this has been shown on Twitter and Instagram and everything. I'm not going to lie. If my Le'Veon Bell jersey was not autographed, I swear to God, I would scrape off the B and tape on SN and still have Snell. I mean, I hope he gets 26, but honestly, he's expressed interest in wearing 26, man. I'll put the image right here so you can see, you know, he is incredibly interested in wearing 26, and why not, man? This guy is going to be he's already a phenomenal fit, man, just based on his, his social media activity.
Yeah,
honestly.
really.
So, and now he does have a little bit of cockiness and arrogance to him, which could be a good and bad thing, honestly. But, you know, I feel like that's something that this team needs a little bit more. You know, that's why I kind of like Devin Bush a little bit more, because he has that heart and that cockiness and that slight little bit of arrogance. You know, we kind of need that back on the Steelers team. You know, not too much of it. Nothing that's really going to get under our skin or anything, but, you know, just a nice bit that can really amp up this team and amp up this offense a little bit.
Absolutely. We need some very confident players that believe in themselves and that can actually motivate this entire team.
Exactly. Well said, man. So, Benny Snell is going to be a perfect fit, and I feel like already is a perfect fit. So I'm very, very excited to see Benny Snell in the black and gold, man. Very excited.
Same here.
Now, in the fifth round, with the 141st pick, which is from Oakland, of course, with that Antonio Brown trade, the Steelers selected Zach Gentry, tight end out of Michigan, another Michigan guy. This is a big boy. 6'8", almost 6'9", man. So Ben's really going to love his height, and I feel like he's really going to target him a lot in the end zone. Now that's not really his best trait.
Yeah, because I mean, he's not the best pass catcher, but he does have some decent hands.
Right.
He really does.
But he'll more than likely just come in, be the number 2, number 3 guy behind Vince McDonald, and be pretty much a blocker. Now, honestly, in my opinion, out of this entire draft class, Gentry is my least favorite selection, to be real with you, but I don't mean that in a negative manner.
Right.
I still like Gentry. I just feel like that he is not as strong or as athletic as he could be, honestly. You know, with a guy of his, I mean, he's 6'8", so, and I believe he only had, 12 bench press reps in the bench press at the combine, which is pretty underwhelming for a guy of his size, honestly.
At the time and position, really.
Right. And what he will be mostly used as in the NFL, which is, of course, a blocker, which I feel like where we're going to use him a lot. Now, I feel like there were better tight ends that we could have selected.
Or possibly even trade up for, a guy like Foster Moreau.
And Isaac Nada, who was taken in the 7th round. So we could have taken Nada here, or if we wanted to wait till the 6th or 7th, we could have taken Nada. I feel like Nada is much more athletic. He's as quick as Gentry, but I feel like he has better hands. I feel like he's a more polished blocker. He's definitely stronger. I feel like he's more athletic. So I would prefer an Isaac Nada over Gentry, but still, Gentry, he's a guy that can come in and definitely work on his craft a little bit and be developed into a nice polished blocker, a better blocker than what he was in Michigan. So pretty much this guy is Matt Space 2.0.
Yeah, really.
That's pretty much what it is. But it's good that we grab depth at tight end, a guy that can come in, develop on his blocking a little bit. So not a bad selection. Not my most favorite selection. But it's not too bad. We grabbed depth at tight end, so I can't really complain too much there. So, yeah.
Right.
Now, in the 6th round, with the 175th pick, which is from Oakland, the Steelers selected Sutton Smith, linebacker from Northern Illinois. Big fan of this selection, man. Sutton Smith is a guy that we find very underrated. He is undersized. He is only 6 foot, 6'1". As an outside linebacker, he mostly played defensive end and outside linebacker, which is, he did real good in Northern Illinois. He had, 29 sacks last 2 years in Northern Illinois, which is very good, but at the next level in the NFL, I don't know if that's going to translate much because of his size. I feel like he's going to be a little bit too small. Now, you may say the same thing about, James Harrison. James Harrison was only 6 foot coming out of Akron and everything.
And he went undrafted.
Yeah, and, of course, he is the Steelers' leading sack leader, of course. You could make that argument with Sutton Smith. This guy, James Harrison was the same size, and look at him. He's a fucking Hall of Famer in the making and everything, which, I'm not going to disagree with you. Absolutely. I feel like Sutton Smith could be a very nice rotational outside linebacker to split reps with T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree this year and Ola Adani and Anthony Chickalow. So he'll be a very nice rotational, possible third down pass rusher or defensive end or wherever we want to put him, man. I'm even hearing talks that we might put him at inside linebacker, which honestly might be better for him.
Specifically for his size.
Right.
He does remind me a bit of L.J. Ford, when he was with the Steelers, because he was actually an outside linebacker coming out of the draft.
Right.
But then we switched him to inside, and he was actually very contributive.
Absolutely. I think that's where he's going to thrive, mostly on special teams. I feel like he's going to be a special team monster, to be real with you. And I feel like let's not forget he actually has some speed to him as well. Honestly, Sutton Smith is a very nice selection. I'm very excited to see what we're going to do with him because I'm hearing talk to him. I put him at D end, outside linebacker, inside linebacker. So we can put him at any any position on that defense in that front seven. I feel like he can still produce pretty decently. I feel like he's going to be a very nice rotational backup and everything. I feel like he could be a great monster on special teams, but I really want to sleep on him to potentially make his way or push his way through for a starting job down the road.
Yeah, really, because if Dupree doesn't turn out, him and Ola Adani could really fight for that starting position.
Absolutely.
And that's a position battle I would love to see.
Yeah, exactly. Because Ola Adani is a big sleeper, man. So
he is.
But Sutton Smith, very nice selection, very nice depth selection. Add a little bit more speed, a little bit more depth to linebacker and special teams, of course. So very nice, man. Seriously. Now with the 192nd pick, the Steelers selected Isaiah Buggs, defensive lineman from Alabama, man. Fucking steal.
I love this pick.
This was an absolute steal. I don't know how he lasted till the 6th. There were talks that he could be a late day 2 and early day 3 guy, but he lasted all the way to the 6th round, our second 6th round pick. And, I'm not surprised at all that we selected him because, our defensive line coach, Carl Dunbar, before coming to
the Steelers, he was obviously the defensive line coach for Alabama.
Right, and last year, we selected Joshua Frazier in the 7th round, who was a defensive lineman for Alabama, and we go defensive lineman from Alabama again this year with Isaiah Buggs. And I feel like Buggs is definitely going to be a very nice rotational guy on that defensive line for Hargrave, for Hayward, for Tuitt, maybe for Alu. I feel like this guy can definitely come in and replace Alu when Alu's done and be a very nice rotational guy, or when someone gets hurt or gas, he can come in and everything. So I feel like Buggs is a very underrated guy who can definitely make some sort of impact on our defensive line, because, our defensive line is very nice, but we all know that behind a very steady and strong starting core, you need a very nice and reliable backup core. And I feel like Isaiah Buggs just made it a little bit stronger right there.
I definitely think so.
So, definitely, man. Now, at the 207th pick via Arizona, the Steelers selected Ulysses Gilbert. I almost said Ulysses Grant. Ulysses Gilbert III, inside linebacker from Akron, man. Now, I'm not going to lie, we don't know much about him. Now, the name definitely rings a bell, but we didn't really look much into him. We don't really know much about him. We know he's fast. We know he's athletic. So, and I think he's definitely going to come in, potentially battle with Tyler Matakavich for a starting role, or
a backup role, and a special teams role,
right? Or a roster spot or whatever. So, because although we were incredibly high on Matakavich when he came out of Temple, he hasn't done shit.
He really hasn't, and most of it does have to do with his speed. He's not obviously he's not a fast guy.
Right. However, Gilbert is definitely very fast. We add more speed to inside linebacker with Gilbert as well, so we get speed with Devin Bush, Sutton Smith, and Ulysses Gilbert III. So that's a lot of great speed inside linebacker. At inside linebacker. So, and I feel like Gilbert can be a very nice guy at inside linebacker, or on special teams, a very nice backup at inside linebacker, someone that could come in, maybe battle for a dime backer role, honestly, maybe be a backup at dime backer or whatever, a guy that can come in and rotate and everything. So I feel like Gilbert is a very nice depth pick. But someone I really wouldn't sleep on. Many people consider him a steal as well. Again, we don't really know much about him. If you guys know a lot more about Gilbert, let us know in the comments below. That would really help a lot, honestly. But Gilbert, I feel like, as of right now, is a very nice selection. I'll add a little bit more depth at linebacker and special teams. Add a little bit more speed as well.
Yeah, really.
So, pretty nice, man. And with the 7th round pick, our last pick, with the 219th pick via Tampa Bay, the Steelers selected Derwin Gray, offensive tackle out of Maryland. So, pretty much depth. Offensive lineman was pretty much obvious here. We put offensive lineman in the 7th round. And a lot of our mocks, honestly, we went with guys like Alex Bars and what was his name?
Garrett Brumfield, who we actually did sign because he went undrafted.
Yes.
So technically, he is a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers as of right now.
Yeah. So, Derwin Gray is a very nice depth pick for offensive line. Offensive tackle, I don't think he'll see much time offensive tackle. I'm hearing that we're going to switch him to guard, which I think...
Right, but that's the thing with Derwin Gray. He's actually a very versatile offensive lineman, too. And the Steelers love them versatile offensive linemen.
Yeah. I feel like Derwin Gray definitely can be a very nice backup at guard, behind Finney, behind Foster, behind DeCastro and everything. So I think he'll find a nice role at guard, and which honestly benefit him a little bit more because of his measurables, and it will give him a better chance of potentially making the roster as a guard. While at offensive tackle, we obviously have Chuck's core four, we have Matt Fielder, and we have Gerald Hawkins. So,
and Zach Banner.
Right. So I feel like him at guard is definitely going to give him much more opportunity and much more chance of making the roster, which would definitely just help him a lot more, man. So,
right.
Anyway, guys, that is the Pittsburgh Steelers 2019 draft class, man. Let us know your guys' thoughts about the draft class, comments below. I'm not going to really give it a grade here because there's really no point. This will be a grade will be made, or the time will tell for this draft class in about 2-3 years and everything. So,
right, but overall, I really like this draft class.
I really do. I feel like this was definitely one of our best draft classes in memory. Now, the 2017 draft class with, T.J. Watt and Juju and James Conner and everything, I don't think anything's really going to top that yet, honestly. Now, this has the chance, but I don't think anything's going to top 2017 yet. But when you look at it, when you look at this draft class, we filled in a lot of holes, a lot of needs. We got a lot of depth.
We got a lot of talent and potential.
Yes, absolutely. And guys that are great with character, guys that just want to play, guys that believe in themselves, guys that can come in and really make a big difference, and guys that can just come in and really change the landscape for this defense and the offense altogether.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man. Let us know your guys' thoughts about draft class, comments below. Draft season is over. Rookies, welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Glad to have you. Can't wait to see all you guys and see what you guys are made of, man. So let's get to work, man. Let's get to work.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace!